Donnie Houston.
What's going on, my man?
What up? What up? What up?
How you doing, man?
Good, man. A little tired, but I'm good.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I was looking for my shades, but it ain't work out. So you got me with the luggage under the eyes.
It's all good, man.
You
It's
know what
all
I
good.
mean?
You out in you in Cali or where you at right now?
Yeah. I'm in LA.
Okay, that's what's up, man. How y'all making it with everything that's going on right now?
Hey, you get used to things after a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm used to it now. It's just a little tough when you got two young ones that you know what I mean. They don't understand why the parks are closed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we good, man. How y'all out there, man? In Houston.
Yeah, we're cool, man. It's like everywhere else, man. It ain't like New York or nothing like that, man. So we just
Yeah, I mean that's my hometown, man. You know what I mean? But I check on my family every day. So far, everybody's pretty good, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what part of New York you from?
I'm from the city, man. Born in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn, Far Rock, Harlem. 3 boroughs out of the city, man. I got family all over.
Nice.
New York, man.
Nice. So how were you? Did you always want to get into music like back then growing up, or how'd you get into that? Like, did you have influences back then, or aspirations to even get into it?
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I came up in I don't want to say the very beginning, but like maybe that second wave. You know what I mean? Because I had older cousins that was doing it from the beginning. You know what I mean? So when I turned 9 and Rappers Delight was out, that was it. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what really got me started. Being a aspiring rapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what's up.
That's what really got me started, man.
That's what's up. So, man, yeah, you were doing the rap thing. So, how did you were solo, or you were in a group, or how were you doing it when you first jumped in the rap game?
I mean, from there it was just, a hobby as a kid. You just want to do it to have fun and get attention. You know what I mean? So, I go from, write my own raps by myself, having a little cruise in school. You know what I mean? Because I used to break dance and all that. Pop lock and break dancing, and graffiti. You had to do it
all 4 elements. Okay.
It was the culture. Like if you wasn't doing that, you was corny.
Yeah.
So it went from that, and I guess I started taking it more serious when I got about 14, 15, 16. And then I had my first record deal at 18. You know what I mean? With this label called B-Boy Records, which was up in the Bronx, and that was the label that KRS-One and BDP came out of, and what was it, JBC Force, and a couple of other acts.
So what year is this?
This is like '89. This is
Okay.
like '89, man.
Oh, so right there, you're right there in it. Yeah.
Right there, just trying to, you know what I mean? That's when it was still about just bragging rights. It wasn't about trying to get paid. It was just about, you know what I mean, being able to go places, get respect. You know what I mean?
Right. So how did that I mean, obviously it didn't turn out to be what you ended up doing, but I mean, how was that whole experience, and then just moving on from there?
Lessons, man. Lessons after lessons. You know what I mean? It was one of them things where it's like, even to get the deal, and I actually waited till I turned 18 to sign the contract on my own, because growing up, I didn't really, I had parents that I didn't know at the time, but they used to manage an artist and stuff.
Okay.
And my father used to play congas and stuff, but I never knew this as a kid. So when they saw me,
wait, how do you not know this?
Because you don't pay attention to that. I have young parents. My
Okay.
I'm a product of teen parents. So
Okay.
I spent a lot of time on the weekends with the grandparents and the great grandparents. So that's when they did their thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean?
Yeah. You was
during the week,
separated.
it's the routine. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
right.
So I brought that up because, when I was getting into hip hop and stuff, it wasn't like they discouraged me, but they didn't encourage me. You know what I mean? Because they knew, like, well, it was 2 things. They know how it could be when you're trying to make it in music and don't make it. And then again, this is in the beginning. So it's like, oh, this is just a fad. It'll go away. This is not real music. It's one of them things. Right. So I kind of waited till I was old enough to sign it on my own, because I didn't want to, like, have my dad or mom say no. You know what I mean? So I held on to the contract at 17 and waited. I was like, yeah, we're going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, from there, I signed it as is, no lawyer, no nothing, just hungry kid, as I said,
Man,
you know, and
I
you
mean,
know,
was it something to where like you still own albums right now type shit, or you got out of that now?
nah,
It
man,
wasn't.
they sold their company, whatever, you know, it's years. Actually, a few years ago, somebody reached out to me because they was gonna do a documentary on the label and stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's why it's so funny to see all this going on. I know I'm not jumping around, but it's funny to see what's going on, and I'm so happy for D Nice what's happening now because that's the label he came from. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, but it was one of them things where it was just like, I did it. We did it. I had a partner at the time. His name was Cell B. Our group was called KB and Cell B. And we were working on, the funniest thing is how we got the deal was somebody told me, it's like, yo, B-Boy Records is looking for artists, you know? And at that time, you could get album covers and see the address of the labels on the back. You know what I mean? So we was like, where that's at? And this is when I was living in Far Rockaway. Now, Far Rockaway in New York and Queens is like the bottom of Queens. Like for me to get from there to the office at B-Boy, it took 2 hours on the New York City public transit. You know what I mean? And we trooped that. So, but I had a friend that was going to college at the time, and he had to do a video for his assignment at Pratt Institute. You know what I mean? You know, this is the 80s, like no having a video, all that, you know, VHS, all that. So we were able to get him to do our video. It helped us out, and it like
Yeah, it was project.
helped him out.
Right,
yeah, it was his project.
Right.
So when we finally went up to the label, you got a 17, 18-year-old kid talking about, yo, play your demo. Like, yo, we got a video. They were like, y'all got a video? Oh, we signing y'all right away. Like, how these kids got a video? Like, you know what I mean? This is before cameras and your phone, and you know, I don't think we had a phone. I think beepers was out. I don't even think no.
Yeah, no, it was a big deal to have a video.
Yeah, you couldn't afford a cell phone back then. It's like it's still beeper time. You know what I mean? So we did it. We was excited. But then one day we came up to the label and they was like, yeah, we want y'all to meet y'all new manager. We was like, okay. I said, you know, I told my partner, I said, I know we dumb enough for signing the contract as it is, but we ain't gonna take this manager we don't know. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, no problem.
Did y'all have a manager going in, or it was just y'all?
No, it was just us, man.
Okay.
Just young, hungry, ambitious kids, man. But we knew, like, all right, that's just doing too much. Y'all want to be the label and the management?
Right.
So it's like, nah, we good. We don't need a manager. We got our peoples, whatever, you know. So that made them put us on the shelf. You know, they try to stall us out. Like, okay, they're going to give in. And
oh, man.
Yeah, so make a long story short, my partner had quit doing hip-hop or whatever, and I was kind of left on my own.
How long were y'all on the label?
I mean, we probably was working with them a good year. They used to put us up in a studio in the Bronx. It was like a studio in a brownstone that they always work with, and it's actually the studio where I learned how to engineer. You know what I mean? So like, you know, after that point, my partner had a bad taste, and you know, I was discouraged too. But I was like, this is all I want to do. So I took it upon myself to, like, you know, get more into production just for me to rap on. You know what I mean? And you know, we used to go, and I kept a relationship with the studio owner and the studio manager. So he always hooked me up with some time and stuff. And that's how I kept going and kept learning. And that's why I had learned how to engineer. And the funny thing about it is, like, I also had a girlfriend that used to work at a booking agency. And she used to tell me, people call up here all the time for studios and to make records. It's like, they so dumb. This is a booking agency. This is about shows. And I was like, really? How many people? She said, I get calls every day. I was like, give me their number. You know what I mean? Because I knew my man owned the studio. So I say, yo, if I bring you some clients, you know, can I engineer the session and you pay me? He was like, you know how to engineer? I was like, yeah. Lying out, you know, lying out my ass. I was like, yo, I'm trying to make.
And this
money.
ain't Pro Tools. This is tapes and all this.
This is
real to real.
Real to real.
Yeah.
1/2-inch tape, 2-inch tape, big board.
Yeah.
You know, you only had 8 tracks, 16 tracks. If you had 16 tracks, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the thing was, whenever I went to the studio, I always paid attention, and I'm a fast learner. So I was like, it can't be that hard, you know what I mean? So I ended up, you know, learning how to engineer and taking clients like that. I mean, the first day I banged around or whatever. I made a couple calls when I was stuck. But after that, you know, the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of got me into engineering production. Just keep going and just trying to make some money and just trying to make beats for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got a bad connection.
Oh, it's me? Hold on 1 second. Let me try this.
Okay, we're good right now.
It's good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, let me put this on.
Oh, we just lost it. Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Got
so
me?
I missed everything. I got you. I just missed everything you just said, though.
Well, what's the last thing you heard?
You were saying that you went to engineer with the guys. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
okay.
You went to take the guys over the engineering shit.
Yeah. I started just like taking people and working in the studio, engineering, you know, learning how to engineer, taking clients like that. And that's what kind of got me into engineering and also producing, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And, you know, but it was all the idea of still trying to be a rapper, you know what I mean? Make a little money to fund my career, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I
But at the
wasn't
same
taking,
time, you learning. I mean, that's key shit, though, man. To
yeah.
learn the engineering and the producing. What are you learning to produce on at the time?
Man, that was SB1200 or the
Nice.
SB12 with the SCSI drives or the you know the big 5-inch floppy drives at first. Then came the zip drives and all that later. The Akai 950, you know what I mean? All the producers out there, they know what I'm talking about.
For sure.
Older ones, and you know all the what was the standard then? You know what I mean? That was it. This is like late 80s, early 90s, you know what I mean? You know, the Pete Rocks, the you know, Primos and you know, Evil Deed. That's what all they used. So you had to get one of those, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the main person was Marley Marl. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That was one of my early heroes, like the whole Juice Crew, Marley Marl, and Rick Rubin, because I loved all the Def Jam, Run DMC stuff. I was like, yo, what's that drum machine? I need to get one of those. But you know, back in them days, that stuff was expensive.
Yeah.
And nobody was getting money in the 80s. You know what I mean? Nobody.
Right.
This was like the beginning of the crack era.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, so the beginning of the crack era, you had to be somebody to be selling crack. It wasn't like later on when every nobody was, you know what I mean? So it was one of them things, you know what I mean? So just learning that and just like making my ways, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I mean, after you do this thing with the studio, where do you go from there? Like, do you go back into like, does anything pick up with the rap again, or what?
Yeah,
Like the
I was
again?
still doing things and I was rocking with different crews and you know, it's like I've always kind of stuck around like creative people, you know what I mean? And again, this is the early 90s in New York, uptown in Harlem, in the back of record stores like you know, what was it? You had Rock and Will, you had man, I'm drawing a blank on some of these record stores, but what used to happen, you know, when the stores closed down, the owners used to let people, you know, record cassettes and whatever with the local DJ. So we would do mixtapes. So like, if you had a little buzz, you was able to get on the mixtape. You know what I mean? They actually recorded in the back of the store. You know what I mean? So I was doing that there, uptown and in Midtown, and then downtown. In the village, you used to always see people having ciphers in Washington Square Park. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you would do that. It was like two different worlds because like uptown, everybody's like bar heavy, punchline heavy. You know what I mean? Writing. Downtown was more freestyle, off the top of your head, battling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just vibing with you know, musicians and stuff. So I had both of that going on. You know what I mean? And you know, make a long story short, that's where I met a young lady by the name of Alicia downtown in the village area. You know what I mean? And, you know, you would always see up and coming, signed artists, whatever, it didn't matter, always vibing out. It watch it, especially on the weekends in the summertime, until you know, after a while, the police used to come shut it down and different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I used to do is I used to keep in touch with people I was really vibing with and be like, yo, we don't have to stop the cipher. I got a drum machine and keyboard at my crib. We could just record up there. You know what I mean? And Alicia was one of those people that was part of that group. You know what I mean?
Around what year is this?
Now this is like mid-90s. It's
Okay.
like the mid-90s now. You know what I mean? And you know, it's one of them things where it's like, you know, you just do what you do, but still no intention of I'm producing people, and I'm just like vibing, having fun, escaping.
Just in the mix. Yeah.
Right. You know, it's one of them things like try a couple of beats, don't just put this cassette on record. So you had 90 minutes of music, you know what I mean? Or 90 minutes of just people doing whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know, I kind of kept doing that, plus working a job, because by now I have my first kid now, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I gotta make some money. This music just ain't going the way I want it. And because I already had a bad experience with labels, I didn't want to deal with labels. You know, I wanted to start my own kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, as I said, you know, you just keep going. And then I think like a year or so later, I got back in touch with Alicia, and you know, she had finally got a record deal with Columbia Records.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, you check people like, yo, that's dope, such and such and such. Mind you, she's doing, even though we were doing tape ciphers and recording and stuff, she's doing R&B, and I'm just in my mind hip hop, rap sample, blah 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 blah. You know, I probably took like a month of piano lessons when I was a kid. That's the one thing my parents did, but they had me learn piano from like an old Jewish Russian guy. He's teaching me all these Jewish hymns, and I don't want to learn this stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, yeah, and I was like, yo, it doesn't matter. I'm doing hip hop. I don't need that soft ass piano crap. You know what I mean? This is the thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I learned to be a little more open minded. You know, later on. You know what I'm saying? So I brought that up because, you know, after keeping in touch, she hit me up and was like, you know, we were talking, and I was like, yo, how's the music going and different things, and you know, she was like, I hate it. I said, I don't like it. I don't like what's coming out. These, you know, the people I'm working with, they're not taking me serious, blah, 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 blah. She was like, yo, I just remember how we used to make the tapes and stuff. Like, you know, I want you to help me work on this album. And I was like, yeah, no problem, you know. And, you know, I'm intimidated. I'm like, she's on a major label. She's doing R&B. I don't know nothing about doing R&B and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, because we would do different things and make tapes, and she'd be like, what key is that in? I was like, what do you mean, what key is that in? What are you talking about key?
Right.
She's like, oh, the scale. I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just, because everything I was doing was off of feeling, off of sampling, off of, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, but again, I'm a fast learner. So from that point on, we would just make a whole bunch of demos, as they call them, and stuff, and wonder why, like, man, why don't these demos sound like the records that we love? You know what I mean? So that really brought us back. Let's go check these albums, look at the credits, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, this Stevie record, it has a bass, it has a guitar, it has a Wurlitzer. What's a Wurlitzer? We need to get a Wurlitzer. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, so that led into, you know, the studying of production. You know what I mean? So me and her was just learning how to like put sounds together and layer them and you know, do stuff. And, you know, we did that for like, it ended up being a few years. We didn't know that, you know, it ended up being a few years because from like 97 to like 98, we were working on what was supposed to be the first album or whatever. And when it got turned in, the label didn't like it, of course. You know what I mean? It's like, what is this? Because, you know, we were developing our own sound, you know what I mean? Naturally, not purposely. We just like, okay, this is what we like. because the thing about her, she was classically trained. You know, she loved R&B, jazz, classical. I like classical. I didn't know anything about it. I just liked the emotion of strings. We both like Wu-Tang. We both like Stevie. So it was just trying to find that bridge on, like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
whenever we did something that both of us liked, it was a better chance that other people would like it too. And that's all we really cared about. Like, if our people's feeling it, you know what I mean?
Then it's cool. Yeah.
Then it's cool. You know what I mean? And, you know, she had a manager that believed in her. You know what I mean? And you know, when the label didn't like it, it was one of them things where it was just like, all right, well, we're gonna find somebody else. You know what I mean? And that ended up being 2 more labels over, because from that point on, when Columbia didn't like it, our manager Jeff Robinson, shout out to him, got the attention of Clive Davis at Arista Records, and he got it. So we kept continuing on, pretty much the same album, but we, you know, still working. So of course, new songs and new ideas is coming out.
Right.
And then Arista wanted to get rid of Clive. It was like, you too old. We letting you be chairman. L.A. Reid's the new guy. Blah blah blah. So now we like, oh, you know what I mean? And now she's stuck in a position where she's like, Clive wants to bring her along. He's like, he's gonna start a new label. He wants to bring her along. And L.A. Reid wants to keep her, so she had to go through this tug of war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was really close. She was almost going to sign with L.A. Reid, but in the last minute, you know, stayed loyal to Clive, who was the person who got it when nobody was checking. You know what I mean? And J Records started, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then y'all did the Fallen was the first single, and that just was, man,
Yeah.
smash. Yeah. Was that one of the records that y'all had
We had that during the Columbia days. We had that. That was like one of the last records. And even with that, it was just like, even with J Records, it's because it was a ballad, so to speak, no one believed it could be on the radio. They was like, this is not going to be on the radio. It's a ballad. We need something more up tempo, blah, 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 blah. So
that in my opinion, that ended up being all the reasons why it worked.
But see, that's the funny thing about it. It's just like, you know, nobody really knows, man. It's really the timing.
Yeah.
But one thing I do know is that when she wrote that song and put it on piano, and I programmed the drums, because I came from hip hop, I was like, yo, I want to make sure these drums hit hard, where it can be played on Hot 97, because that was the end all be all. You get on Hot 97, so I purposely detuned the hi-hats, and I purposely found the chunkiest snare I could find, you know what I mean? Just for that fact. And I felt good about it. So I was like, yo, this is going to work, and I know why it's going to work. And again, no one ever heard anything sound like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see why, because like whenever it comes down to their studies and what works already, I mean, we know now that you're late. You're already late. You know what I mean? If you're trying to do something that works, that means you late. You know what I mean? You know, so we were the new wave coming, you know, beginning of a new decade, you know what I mean? Now we're talking 2001, and we were just confident. And then, you know, they actually put out a leak single or tester for mix shows, which was Girlfriend, which was produced by Jermaine Dupri. And it got a little buzz and stuff for late night radio. Flex used to play it, but we knew like that was cool, but it didn't really represent where she was coming from musically. You know what I mean? So finally, the buzz was going around. Everyone was talking about Falling, so they had to let it go. Yeah. And that coupled with the vision of the video, it was a wrap. I mean, it's the first time you're seeing a young woman with braids going up to prison to see her boyfriend. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you've never seen that in the music video, and it resonated so much. And you know what I mean?
Smash. So how was it for you? Just like, I mean, you've been working, and now you're in the game for real. You know what I mean? Y'all have a hot record. Are y'all kind of are people coming to y'all for that sound? Like, who are y'all going to work with outside of just what y'all were doing?
Well, for me, for me, it was still like a thing, like, you know, the whole like, oh shit, is this real kind of thing? You know what I mean? It's like, because everything, what I was saying from the beginning is I just started out just learning by doing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, I am happy that I did have an open enough mind to try things that I didn't master or know for sure, that led to other things happening. So, when that record came out, I was still working a job, and people was like, "Oh, yo, congratulations, the album is #1," and they like, I'm like, yeah, stop playing, the album's #1. You know what I mean? Because it was one of those things where we felt like we love what we're doing, and people might not get it right away, but they will get it.
So wait, so once she got into J Records and she was into the system, you still had to like work and shit. Yeah, it wasn't really set up for you to go full time with music, or you chose to.
I mean,
work.
It takes a little money. It takes a little time for royalties to kick in, man.
Of course,
It takes a little
of course.
time.
Right,
I got kids, you know what I mean? My credit done ran thick. The baby mama wasn't trying to take that excuse for much longer. It was like, well, I ain't got no money, so So it was one of those things where it was just like, it's happening, but you never know. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell a lot of producers and songwriters, is like, yo, if you have a job, you working a job, keep that and deal with it until your time comes, because at least you won't have that extra stress of not having a dime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you keep working, and for me, that helped me get through working a job was knowing I'm not gonna be here forever. This is all temporary. You know what I mean? A lot of times we hate our jobs, we get all depressed because we feel stuck. You know what I mean? We feel stuck. So I never had that mentality. Like, I would work 2 or 3 jobs. It didn't matter. I'd get fired from one and get another one. It didn't matter, because in my mind is I'm never going to be a worker. I'm never going to be an employee. I'm doing this as a means to an end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when things started becoming successful and not really having that, not really knowing my ability or confidence, because, I'm still young and whatever. And as I said, I never really got encouraged as a kid. So I didn't have that confidence, like, you know what I mean? So in the back of my mind is a little doubt, like, oh man, like, maybe I should start really learning how to do this. You know what I mean? So for me personally, that's where I was, you know what I mean? And in hindsight, in talking to her, and, she just dropped a book recently, I could see that that's where she was too. You know what I mean? A little insecure about the ability, you know what I mean? But doing the music, it was all the confidence in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. To have someone judge it, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Are they going to know I don't know what key this is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, we just got over that, you know what I mean? And when it was time for the second album, it was just like, cool, let's just do what we do, because we didn't know what we was doing going to work anyway. All we got to do is what we do. So people would ask you, are you fearing the sophomore jinx or whatever?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, because we did what we did from the jump, And I say that because a lot of times when a new artist comes out, they take, at that time, they just go by what the label says and whatever. And at first, my album might be a success, but it never was the real them. You know what I mean? And you have cases of that all the time. Like, even, remember Pink, the artist? They had her do a whole R&B album.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like, so I feel like that's why the sophomore jinx would happen, is you got all these people telling you what to do and how to do it, and it's successful. And now that you made your money, now to be like, okay, you can do what you want. And you don't even know what you want, because you just did what everybody else. So we didn't have that problem. You know what I mean? So
the second album, was that the one with is that the album with Secrets? I won't tell you Secrets and all that.
Yeah, Secrets was the second album. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Diary.
man.
Diary.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Diary.
Diary.
Oh
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Man,
that was one of the longest charting singles too.
Incredible record,
man. Yeah, man. It was a beautiful experience, man. And I was still, but going back to asking about the rapping stuff, like I would still try to do it here and there, But at the time, as I said, she asked me to help her, but she also asked me, she's like, no, seriously, I want you to help me, be there for me, like stop everything you're doing for now and just really help me pull this through, you know. And I was saying like, damn, she believes in me that much, and I believe in her, you know, let me do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, even when she first went on tour the first time, I used to go on tour with her with the NPC on the stage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So I'm still trying to write my rhymes, make my songs, but I could never give it that 100% time, you know what I mean? Because it was like album, tour, next album, you know, and repeat the process. And I probably had more time to work on stuff when she did the live album, which was after the third album. No, before the third album.
So the Grammy was
The first album.
The first album, yeah, out the
First
gate,
album.
yeah.
Well, my
yeah.
first Grammy was the first album. I mean, she got Grammys as a artist in later years too.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get my second Grammy until No One was one for the song.
Man, listen, that is my mother's favorite song.
Oh, word.
My mom, man, listen, y'all went gold off her streams alone. She still playing that shit. She loves No One, man. She loves No One.
Big up to Mom.
Yeah,
even that one, people didn't understand it. They was like, "What is this?" Like,
what? That's like instant smash though. The first time, in my opinion.
Yo.
And it was different style for her. I want to say that was the first time when she came with the different style. Like
that's why people didn't understand it. You know what I mean? It's just like whenever you do something a little different and grow as a creative, you're gonna switch it up. You know how it is. You know, you don't want to do the same thing all the time.
Right.
And you know, people just want to keep you in a certain lane. So this is when we were getting more into virtual synths. You know what I mean? No more JV 1080 and 20. Now we got virtual synths. The plugins. It's like, oh, plugins. You know, we got Pro Tools now and plugins. So that's where that came in, and then we got more into vintage equipment. Like one of the main things was the Roland. What was that? What was that? Was it the Jupiter? I forget which keyboard it was, but like that was like a newfound. You know what I mean? It's like going back and finding some classic car and be like, yo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know. We did that record. That was like the last record for As I Am album. You know what I mean? And a couple of people was like, "What? I don't get it. I don't understand it." You know what I mean? Yeah. And hey, man, you just gotta do what feels good. Even with that, it's like if you break down that song, it's really has a huge reggae influence. You know what I mean? Because we were in Jamaica and just listening to the old, you know, ska records and the whole like, where it almost sounds like 60s, 50s ballads, you know what I mean? So that was the idea behind that record, you know what I mean? So we said, okay, we're gonna take these kind of melodies and vibes and put it on this obnoxious beat. And that was probably the only track that I ever did to the floor drums.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because other times I'm just programming away. But this one, it was just like, doom, doom, doom. And I had the 808 under that. Like, no song is complete without the 808. So it was just like, ding, 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 boom, boom, ding, 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 boom. And it crashed every fucking, it was like purposely trying to be obnoxious.
Yeah.
And then at one point I was like, maybe this is a little too much. Nope. You know what I mean? It was like the same philosophy with Fallen. It's like, I'm gonna make sure these drums is in your face. You know what I mean? And you know, glad I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, so you know, besides that, it was just like I had a chance to put out an independent rap album finally in like 2006.
Nice.
And I did the whole, you know, routine of like show up to this event, show up to that event, show up for this radio show, show up for that, whatever. And I just noticed something about what I was doing for the first time in my life. It was just like, man, I loved everything. I love everything about creating the record. I love everything about performing the record on stage. I just didn't love the whole politics of like, oh, if you do this person's radio show, you can't do this person's radio show. oh, if you go to this, you can't go to that event, but go to that. I was like, yo, I don't want to deal with this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And by now, as I said, I've been going on tour with Alicia sometimes, and like seeing people react to the music, to songs that I knew that not only I co-produced, but I also co-written. I was just like, wow. And people come over like, oh, I know you wrote on this song did this for my life, and such and such and such. And this is something I didn't anticipate. And I'm just like, and I'm thinking like, wow. I was like, none of my raps ever did that for anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like this. You know, it just made me feel like, wow, it's like I can write for other people and it can go so much further than me just writing and rapping for myself. And from that point on, it was just like, you know, of course I wrote raps and made mixtapes or whatever, but I didn't have that desire to be an artist like I did. You know what I mean? And one thing my dad always did instill in me was like, I don't care what you do or how you do it, just make sure you do it the best you can. You better be at the best, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I knew by this point, I didn't feel that way about rapping anymore. You know what I mean? So then I kind of slid back. I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to deal with all the politics of being an artist. And then at the same time, I did like my whole like behind the scenes kind of thing where I can still go to the barbershop and people who knew and people who didn't, they could talk freely about Alicia's music or anybody, and I get the real, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that would help me because I go back and I'll be like, yeah, they saying this, they saying that, you know what I mean? And when you become a celebrity, you know, everybody smiles in your face. You know?
Right.
At that time, now it's like, you know, they get you in the comments. They talk reckless in the comments, you know? So I kind of was enjoying that part. So from there, you know, and even by like 2006, I started my hand in, well, I didn't really start my hand. I was already developing a couple of artists and producers and stuff. So, you know, having a company, a production company, and developing other artists, I said, all right, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to be, you know, I always wanted to own my own business as a kid. Always wanted to do music. But it took me like, music business, put it together. That's your business, you know what I mean? It took me that long to kind of get to that point, and that's what I started focusing more on from that point on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So right now you're doing a thing. Wait, did you drop an EP?
Yeah, I dropped a mixtape. I dropped a remix tape. You know what I mean?
Remix, okay, yeah.
Remix tape where, you know, I just make beats and tracks that I've been working on from like 2011 up until now. Not all of them. You know, I'm gonna have a series come out. I said, all right, this would be a good one to let people hear, to you know, get them familiar with where I'm at now. You know what I mean? So I'm very happy with it. You know what I mean? I put it out. It's on Bandcamp. You know, Mr. Brothers Bandcamp. And again, it's just me just making the records the way I wanted to make them if I had the artist there, type of thing. You know what I mean? And also to kind of reintroduce myself. Like I'm in the beauty of now is like you really can reinvent yourself so much easier than before. Right. You know what I mean? Because now there's so many. Because at one time I was at a point where it's like, man, you know, the last hit that I had with Alicia was Unthinkable. You know what I mean?
And Smash, man, with Drake. Yeah.
Drake and 40. Shout out to 40. And you know, and I had another artist by the name of Mateo after that. We had to deal with Interscope. It wasn't a good fit, and you know, it is what it is, man. It was just like, you know, you just deal with stuff and you try to play the game. And I wanted to stay independent because we actually got further independently on my label at the time. You know, I went in my pocket, paid for the videos, paid for radio promotion, all of that. And we charted at number 50 on R&B. And that's what got us the deal with Interscope. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's like, it was the golden handcuffs. You know what I mean? You got the chance, but you can't do nothing. You know, you got to have a board meeting and all that. I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? I'm used to just dropping stuff, you know, because I'm mixtape out, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we ready, come on, put it out. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like, no, we gotta do this and we should get this perfect. I was just like, yo, man, you sure you wanna do, you know, I try to convince the artists at the time, like, yo, we should just keep going or whatever. But, you know, I get it, you know, I'm not you. You got to learn your own way, and we took the deal. You know what I mean? I don't regret it or anything. It's a learning experience. You know the deal. You know what I mean? But being that it didn't pop was bad timing for me. You know what I mean? And then we ended up having a fallout, and it's one of them things where it's just like, man, you do the most for artists or producers sometime, and then it's like a thankless job, and stuff don't work out. It's like your fault. You could have did this and you could do that, because they don't understand how much you have to do and sacrifice just to get attention. You know what I mean? So, you know, so that kind of left a little taste. Was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with no artists for a while. I'm not dealing with this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's like years have gone by, and now I'm like, I tried the placement game. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I work with different artists over the years. You know what I mean? I was real selective, because I didn't want to be, you know, at that time, I was just like, I'm holding down Alicia for her projects. I was her partner. I'm an executive producing albums. I really didn't have that much time to mess with a whole bunch of other people, because I was like more of a hands-on producer. You know what I mean? But even that term as a producer, I didn't even realize exactly what a producer was, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Because, you know, in hip hop, we especially back in the days, we make the mistake that the producer has to be the beat maker too. You know what I mean? And so if I wasn't the one programming, doing all that, I felt like I wasn't producing it. You know what I mean? Even though I might have said, yo, sample this, do this, we can do this and do that, whatever.
Orchestrate the whole thing.
Right, which I was doing when I had my partner back in the days as a teenager. So I was producing before I even realized I was producing, because I didn't actually use the drum machine. He did it all, you know what I mean? But I told him the ideas and stuff. And so I said all this to say was like, that's what made it a little harder for me to expand out a little more, because I didn't delegate much. You know what I mean? So if I didn't have time to get in the studio with you, that record wasn't happening. You know what I mean? So everybody I did a record with, I was in the studio with them. You know what I mean? So, but as I said, it got to a point where it's like, you know what? I don't want to deal with nobody. It's not worth it. But all right, this time I'm going back and forth, you know, East Coast, West Coast, and I came out to LA. I said, all right, I'm back in LA again. Let me play this placement game. You know what I mean? And I did like a year of that. And I was like, okay, I realize what I am now. I'm a project guy. I can't play this game with these people. You know what I mean? You put all this time, make these records that you know is something, but you have no say. Once it's out of your hand, it got to go through the red tape. It got to go through the management. It got to go through this. And they want to get they manage this writer. They want to make sure they get a piece. They're doing this and that and that. You're not part of that, so you're not priority. You know what I mean? So, so then I was just like, man, you know, and what inspired, you know, so I kind of got, you know, I was in a bit of, you know, a little jaded place, but just like, I actually started feeling like, man, I hate music, man. I don't want to do music, right? But then it dawned on me, it was like, man, when I came out here, I was going out to a place called Low End Theory, you know what I mean? That's been out here. At that time, they were out for like 7 years. And then I used to check out this party called Selection, you know what I mean? And the thing about it is like, I didn't know at first when I first came to LA what type of, they had a beat culture out here, you know what I mean? So I'm going to these events and I'm hearing like producers playing their beats and their tracks and their remix, and it ain't about no artists and it ain't about no hits, and you see all these people just vibing and dancing and whatever, especially at the Selection. You know, this is like, you know, at this time they were around for like 4 years, and like these people are my kids' age now. Now my kids are grown, they early 20s, these kids is 20, and they're like trapping out Mary J, and I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. I'm hearing this. but the thing that got me the most is like, I'm at this place and you got black, white, Asian, Latin, and a good female to male ratio. And they all dancing, like nobody, standing around front and whatever. And it just reminded me of New York in the 90s, except, it's like New York in the 90s, you go someplace, you always hear these beats. But the dudes rapping and freestyling, it was a sausage fest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was all good because you're there for the music.
Right.
So just to see that in a different way in a new generation, I was just like, yo, I love this. So I was like, no, it's not music that I don't love. I just didn't love the industry and the politics of it. And between them and Low End Theory, which is backed by Stone's Throne and all that, that label, it just really just, put me in a whole different direction. It was like, man, so you mean I got a ton of tracks in my hard drive. So you mean I could just, touch these beats again, maybe throw a couple of acapella, and I could get on stage and play this?
Yeah.
Oh, it was like, you know what I mean? It was just,
Perfect.
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't need nobody. This is like, you know what I mean? It was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then, that was big in EDM, because, you kind of pay attention to EDM. You're like, oh, for me, it was like, oh, it sounds the same. I was like, oh, that's what these guys are doing. They're just remixing in their style stuff they like. And, everybody's, oh, they just pushing a button playing. No, they're playing their production. You know what I mean? Right. So it just opened up a whole nother thing. And then I started Krucial Noise Radio off of that. You know what I mean? Started online. I mean, with everything else, I was just like, y'all want to start my own radio station. I didn't know how, you know what I mean? So I just went live on Ustream at the time, you know what I mean? And got blocked, you know what I mean? But I didn't know. I kept going. And then they started threatening, we're going to cut your cable, you're violating. I didn't know the laws. I was like, I just got to do it, you know what I mean? Fortunately, I kept it up on Mixcloud.com, and it still lives there today. So that's what inspired me to start the whole Krucial Noise Radio. And I just been like playing my remixes, but more importantly, I just been like discovering a lot of young producers that I really like their remixes, and I would showcase them, you know what I'm saying? And also, that inspired me. And then, just still trying to figure out, the internet at the time, because I never took social media seriously either and whatever, until I missed a couple of good opportunities. When I got the opportunity, and then they reneged, and it was like, oh, company said, you don't have enough followers and such. And I'm like, yo, you serious?
Yeah.
like I got Grammys, I got number ones. You talking about followers?
Right.
What? And then somebody told me, it's like, yeah, man, it's going to get worse. It was like, yo, they even turning down actors that don't even have certain followers. I'm like, damn. So I said, you know what? Let me figure out this social media stuff, And then a friend of mine was like, yo, no disrespect, but your experience and your wisdom is more valuable than your music right now. You know what I mean? So as I held back from punching him, I was like, you know what? Thank you for saying that. You know what I mean? So he's like, yeah, you should just get online and start talking to people. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. I just started going on Instagram, and I started to ask Crucials. And the funny thing about it, I used to do this back in the days when we started our website, the Krucial Keys website, but we would do it all on the message board. And we'd talk to people, and I was doing podcasts back then, but I was calling on a radio show. This is the beginnings of it back in 2006. You know what I mean? So I just kind of picked up from there and just went back to that whole, anything I could do where I didn't really need to depend on too many people, you know what I mean? And then, just started talking to people, and so many people have so many questions, man. So I was just like, you know what? I want to, a lot of people have false information about the industry. So I said, you know what? I want to be that person to really give them clear information and give them the truth, you know what I mean? Let them get rid of all these, lies and fantasies and misinformation and stuff. So I would do that online. I started a consulting thing at the time. Then eventually I started a podcast for the music business where I had a partner, and it was called It's So Crucial. And, that kind of leads me up into close to where I'm at today. You know what I mean?
Right. And you're doing the Thursday thing, right? Where you do it to get
Yeah,
the feedback and all that,
I
right?
do the feedbacks because that came about. I was doing that again for a good 3 or 4 years because, you know, besides the information, people used to always ask me, like, that's my daughter in the background. I don't know. Mama, you getting a little too loud. And you know, people used to ask me, yo, can you listen to my music? Can you listen? And I was just like, you know, and I want to listen. I want to like help you out. I was just like, yo, this is impossible. I can't go through all these emails and type back one by one what I think. And I said, you know what? This when they started doing Instagram Live, I was like, oh, that's a good reason to go live. I can do that. So I was like, you know what? If you take time to be live with me, I'll take time to listen to your music, man. You know what I mean? So that's what we started that. Yeah.
That's what's up. So is it a certain time? I mean, it's Thursday,
Yeah.
right? So a certain time you do that?
We about to pop off. What time is it now? Yeah,
It's 8 o'clock over here on our side, so 6 over there.
Yeah. This is the time I start.
Okay, well, yeah, no, go ahead, because I know Instagram is about to kick me off anyway in a couple minutes.
Cool. Yeah,
but man, any last words? Any advice for any aspiring musicians, producers, engineers, whoever, songwriters, whoever just wants to get in the game? That you have for them.
Yeah, do your thing. Do what you feel. Do it makes you excited. You know what I mean? Because I know we in this culture where there's a lot of people trying to make some money real quick and following trends and everything. But if you really want to stand out, you got to do what you feel and do what you love, and find an artist. If you're not an artist yourself, to be that voice for your sound. You know what I mean? That helps you cut through the chase. You know what I mean? I mean, tight beats is cool to make money and stuff, but if you want a long-lasting career, you gotta create your own wave, create your own lane. You know what I mean? I mean, we see it with one of the most popular rappers right now is DaBaby. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can tell a DaBaby track now. You know what I mean? Because he came with a certain style. So that's my advice I would give to producers and artists. You know what I mean? Don't jump on like, you know, don't try to sound like Drake. You know what I mean? And producers, don't try to do a Drake beat. Drake got those beats. You know what I mean? He got those type. He got the team for that. You know, try to give him something different that his voice might sound good on. You know what I mean? And stick to that. And
that's what's up, man. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me, man. I'm gonna check you out on live in a minute, actually.
All right, cool, man.
But
thank you for having me, man.
All good, man. Thanks.
All right,
man.
sir. Peace
All right,
out. All right.